One day, Edward was ill, but he didn't say a word. The Fat Controller had asked him to pull a special train. He agreed to because he wanted to hide his illness, but he was almost too weak to move. I can't steam properly, he thought. I'm not a useful engine. Maybe I need to be scrapped as I can't hide my illness forever. Thomas was also in the shed. He didn't like seeing his friend unhappy. Edward, if you're ill, you've got to tell the Fat Controller, he said. I don't think he'll scrap you for being ill. Edward was about to answer back, but he knew Thomas was right. Thomas, he asked weakly, can you go and tell him? Of course I will, Edward. And Thomas puffed out of the sheds and headed to Knapford. When he arrived at the station, the Fat Controller was waiting. Thomas, do you know where Edward is? He's 10 minutes late, he boomed. Please, sir, I have something to tell you, puffed Thomas. And he explained the situation. Really useless? Why on earth would one of the main prides of my railway ever think such a thing? Thank you, Thomas. I shall attend to the matter immediately. But would you be able to take this train? And Percy will take Annie and Clarabel. Of course, sir, puffed Thomas proudly. So Thomas swapped platforms and was coupled up to the coaches. And Percy soon arrived and collected Annie and Clarabel. Back at the shed, Edward was feeling sad. Maybe I'm no longer a really useful engine and I should be scrapped, he said sadly. Just then, Duck reversed into the shed. What's the matter, Edward? He asked. Oh, hi, Duck, he said. I'm just thinking about why the Fat Controller bothers keeping me. I'm not a useful engine anymore. I'm too old to even do half the work on the railway now. He probably should just scrap me. Did you say scrap? I don't think you're that old yet, Edward, said Duck. And you are one of the prides of the railway, so the Fat Controller would never, ever consider doing such a thing. And the railway wouldn't be the same without you. You always help and share, and you're one of the kindest engines on the whole railway. This made Edward feel much better. Later that evening, Thomas came back after pulling the train, and told his friend what the Fat Controller had told him. I told the Fat Controller you were too ill to pull the train, and he said I'm to shunt you to the steamworks as they will make you better, he puffed. Edward was pleased. Thomas was coupled up behind Edward, and they headed to the steamworks slowly and steadily. The months passed. Edward did spend a lot of time in the steamworks, but he was glad when he could finally come home again. When he returned, he was greeted by a chorus of happy whistles. All of his friends were happy to have him back on the rails. And Edward was happy to feel really useful again.